Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Randeezus. Thank you for clicking on the video. Today we're going to be talking about Bitcoin, but more importantly, blockchain technology and how it can change our entire political system and make us a more free and democratic society. In the background, you'll see a couple of my more recent Warzone gameplays with my first solo victory at the end. It's a big deal for me because I literally never play solos. I can count the amount of times that I've played solos on one hand. Before we get into it, I'd like to thank you for clicking on the video. I know it's not the same as my regular content. There's a YouTuber that I'm sure you've heard of, Drift0r. He's one of my favorite YouTubers, and he does these more philosophical commentaries that I really love, and I've always wanted to emulate them. Today's commentary is going to be broken up into 3 parts. 1, what is Bitcoin and what is blockchain? 2, how blockchain will affect our future? And 3, how blockchain can affect our future. So, what is Bitcoin and what is blockchain? You've probably heard of Bitcoin before, but blockchain is a little less flashy. To put very simply, Bitcoin is a digital store of value created to give the power of money back to the people. There are 2 main differences between Bitcoin and the money in your pocket/bank account. 1, there are a finite amount of Bitcoins. In all of the world from now until the end of time, there is only and will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins. Bitcoin was invented in 2008 and then actually created in 2009 by an unknown individual or group of individuals named Satoshi Nakamoto. How you obtain Bitcoins is by buying them or mining them. Bitcoin is based off of gold. A very simplistic way to look at it is a digital version of gold. However, don't say that to any Bitcoin enthusiast. Number 2, no one person, entity, or government controls it, meaning that unlike the United States dollar, which we'll use just because it's the world standard, Bitcoin is not run by a government. No bank can create more Bitcoins. Like just stated, there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins. Any person is free to mine these Bitcoins, assuming that they have the resources to pay for a computer that can do it, and any person can buy Bitcoin. Now that you understand what Bitcoin is, what is blockchain? Blockchain is a digital ledger. A ledger is a piece of paper containing every transaction or event that has ever happened to any specific product. For example, if you were going to go buy a car right now from a used car dealership, they would show you a ledger of all the work done to that car, how many owners the car has had, if the car has gotten into any accidents in the past, if its oil changes have been kept up, etc., etc. So in basic terms, blockchain is just a digital version of this. How blockchain differs from this traditional form of ledger is the fact that it's decentralized. This ledger from the car dealership is centralized, meaning that the car dealership owns it and controls this one document. No other person has this document because there's only one. The issue with this is that you as a consumer has to trust that this car dealership hasn't changed or altered this ledger to make it look like the car has more value than it actually has. We all know that a car goes down in value as soon as you drive it off the lot, but what if you get into an accident? Even if a mechanic can fix the car completely with no issues, the value of that car goes down because the odds of it having problems later down the line are higher. So it is in the best interest to not tell the buyer of this car that there have been no crashes so that they pay more for the vehicle. Now, obviously, not everybody would lie to their customers, but it is reasonable to assume that some people would. That's why we have ledgers. They are fairly difficult to fake, but it can be done. The really cool and main benefit of a decentralized blockchain ledger is that everybody who has ever owned that car retains a copy of that ledger digitally, meaning that you can cross-check the dealer's version of that ledger with another dealer, previous owners, and anybody else who holds up that blockchain, creating trust between the seller and the buyer. I know that this is a very complex idea and just one example might not be enough to wrap your head around, so I've attached a video in the description that explains Bitcoin much better than I can. Number 2, how blockchain will affect our future. Blockchain will affect our future by creating trust between any 2 parties or more. This is more of a forced trust, but trust nonetheless. Now imagine this kind of system with the car dealership, but for every single part of your life. Everything will run on the blockchain in the future because it will benefit both the consumers and the business. Imagine going into a grocery store searching for organic chicken, for example. In today's day and age, we have a little sticker that says certified organic so that you know that that chicken is held up to certain standards. In the future, you'll be able to cross-reference everything from what farm that specific chicken is from, the public, private records of that specific farm, how that farm treats other animals. You'll be able to see what the chickens are being fed and literally anything else that you can imagine. Now, I realize that this doesn't sound super exciting because we're talking about organic chicken, but it will be used in almost every single industry. No more searching for reviews on any specific product because they will be linked to that product. The amount of ways that this can and will be utilized is almost endless. And if I'm being very honest, I don't know enough about this topic to speculate on every single way that blockchain will affect our future in the positive. Which brings us to our last and final point. Number 3. How blockchain can affect our future. This to me is the most exciting part because we can erase a lot of the political issues that slow us down today. My main point for making this video is to get you thinking about government leaders and what will happen to the human race moving forward. Right now, we elect officials into office and we trust that they will vote and act in our best interest. If implemented properly, we could actually create a voting system on the blockchain network. In my bright and sunny version of the future, every citizen of a country is given what they call a node. A node is basically a computer that upholds the blockchain and verifies every transaction or change. So to reference my earlier example about the used car dealership, every person that kept a digital copy of that ledger would be running a node. So if every citizen of a country ran a node, then each country would be its own decentralized state. And because each citizen runs a node, nobody would be able to fake it or hack it into an election or vote. This is something that will 100% happen in the future. By the way, it will be more secure than paper voting. Voting through the blockchain is the future. It's just how we implement it that will determine if we move forward towards a more free state or not. In my mind, I can see a future where we can vote very easily wherever we are. And because of this, we will have less demand for representatives because if we are educated, we can just vote on the issues ourselves. There could even be a way to completely eliminate the need for political parties or leaders because we, the people, could vote for any bill that needs to be passed. This would not only stop meaningless bills from becoming law, but also protect the freedoms because individual people would be more educated on political issues. Now, I know that not everyone cares or even wants to care about politics. Most people are probably not even watching this far into the video, but I think that it's very important. I'm also not trying to tell you that politics is fun or exciting, but instead to recognize that part of the reason why politics is boring and uninteresting is because if every single person in a democratic country was interested in politics, then our leaders and elected officials would have a much harder job because their actions would have consequences. If a leader became corrupt, we would all know all of the information and they'd be out of a job. A big reason today why our political system is corrupt is because most people either don't know or don't care. They think that this is the way that it's always been and will always be. Why fight what you can't fix? I've always had a big problem with this mentality. I agree that our current system is rigged against us, you and me. We say that we have democracy and capitalism, but what we really have is the shadows of what they used to be. And I don't think that it's because these ideologies are inherently flawed, but because both of them together, mixed with an increasingly materialistic society, we've grown comfortable. Pair that with the fact that technology has distanced us so much from our grandparents and older generations that we don't really take their advice because most of it is seen as outdated. We are bound to repeat history again. That's why if you've had any interest in Bitcoin, you've probably heard it being referred to as the revolution of money and wealth. I've always had this idea that believing that our version of democracy and capitalism is the end-all be-all is very lazy and unpatriotic. We can't assume that we found the answer to government and economy. We must assume that we don't have all the answers, and we need to be hungry for knowledge. In today's day and age, with how fast technology is moving forward and how quickly our media can influence our population, we need critical thinking and philosophy more than ever. So even if you disagree with everything I just said, the conversation is more important than any one idea. So please comment down below and we can start a conversation for two reasons. One, the more critical thinking and debate, the better. And two, it would boost this video's stats and make it much more appealing to the YouTube algorithm, which would in turn make me a very happy Randizas. Guys, if you liked the video, like the video. If you loved the video, subscribe down below and let me know in the comment section if you have any ways that we can better the free world. Peace out.